Hey y'all, it's your girl Ashley Camille of Fifth House Bloom, and I am here to channel the message for the Leo season. Now, you do not have to be a Leo for this guidance to apply to you, but as always, listen to your intuition and take what resonates and leave the rest behind. If you would like more specific guidance in my Bloom tier, I do channel additional messages based off of sign and modality, and if you want to know how the energy is impacting you personally, you can always book a one-on-one reading with me. Let's just get into it. I'm excited about this one. The energy shifted. I've looked at what our cards were for last week. I pulled out the decks and it completely changed this morning when I checked in, and it's a lighter energy, right? And so it feels like Cancer season was pretty heavy. Let's talk about it. First, can I get a review list? Yes, thank you. Home, Cancer, baby. And slow and steady. I want to check in first because it feels like a lot of what's going on for this season is carrying into the next. And some things probably came to light that just aren't operating correctly for you. Whether it be your relationship, whether it be your living situation, whether it be what's going on in work. And it's possible for you to continue. Ooh, thank God the air came on. That's why I got these sunglasses on. The sun is beaming. Anyways, it feels like it's possible for you to continue in this energy, right? But it's kind of like a comfort zone, and it's kind of a place of stagnation. It's not really offering you like the highest option available to you. It's not offering the most joy. It's not offering the most pleasure. It's not offering the most peace. It's not offering the most money, right? And so part of it is that as this became presented, anywhere that you felt pressure during Cancer season, right, where the cracks were exposed, it might be an alleviation of pressure now, but those cracks were not filled in. Those cracks were showing that, hey, this is an issue that needs to be addressed. And so now, if we were present in that, if we didn't ignore that, right, we might still be like sitting with it, but the point was to identify it. Cancer season revealed a lot about where we can be more at home with ourselves, more at home and comfortable, or creating conditions that are more conducive for us to thrive, right? And so here we now have additional insight into where our focus needs to be for Leo season. Excuse me. 3 and 9. Give me a second. I'm going to take my time. So whatever came up when it was presented potentially came with a level of urgency to it, or it was an unexpected event, or it came out of nowhere, or it completely shifted things, right? Or has the potential to. And so because of kind of that shift, it brought a sense of urgency to, I have to take care of this now, right? But we are being encouraged to take our time. We are being encouraged to move slow and steady. We don't have all the information yet. We don't know all that we need to know, right? Additional insights, additional options, additional support are coming our way. And if we handle this with a sense of urgency, we risk making the situation worse or missing out on a greater opportunity. They're calling to attention, okay, and then under that, making a choice, 3 as well. Pacing, and making sure that the way that we are moving, the actions that we are taking are appropriate pacing. I think I used this example in the cardinal messages for Cancer season, where if the example is a relationship, right, We have to pace ourselves in order to build the commitment that we want, right? And what is appropriate based off of the type of relationship, right? So, it's not the appropriate pace to be planning with this person or people wedding details on the first date, right? That pacing is a little bit off. It's not, let's use a different one. That worked. That worked. And so we can still go in. Part of it is, thank you, operating with our discernment of still knowing our goals, knowing what commitments we want to make, but not projecting them onto our current situation. And that slow and steady allows us to operate from our discernment instead of trying to reach this goal or get to the other side of this challenge, right? It allows us to operate with each step in, is this appropriate for me and the goal that I have in mind? Versus when we are rushing and we are not in our appropriate pace, it is, how can I make this situation work for my goal? Okay, so subtle difference. Do I need to read home? Let me show you the card if I haven't. What do you want me to know about home? So we do have the opportunity, whatever was revealed as a challenge, or even if it was just a desire that came to light or new goals, we have the opportunity, but we have to take our time. We have to recognize that there isn't an immediate gratification, but what is in front of us or being presented to us, there is an opportunity to build a steady foundation from it that can hold what it is we want in a healthy, expansive way. But it takes time to build a home. One that'll last. One that'll hold up. Right? And that's what we want to do. And so this is just a reminder. Shall I read it? No. I'm supposed to read slow and steady. Remember the old cliche, slow and steady wins the race? This is a time for easy movement, unhurried steps, and a steady heart. Trust that taking life at a more leisurely pace will give you greater access to your dreams. Slowing down allows more contact with the juicier elements of your life, saving them. Y'all know I love juicy. I'm going to read reverse too, because it does seem like, that urgency that I'm feeling for us is what we are being encouraged to, work against. Pushing things forward impulsively will not only prevent success, but potentially cause more trouble than you're prepared to handle. Moving too quickly will only yield unripe fruit with a bitter taste. Slow down, breathe, meditate. You're not a human doing, you're a human being. Just be. Everything will work out if you can apply the brakes and become more aware of what's happening in this moment. A calm focus on the now, breathing in the beauty of your surroundings will restore your power to consciously co-create your world. All fruit ripen in their own time, and baby, worth the wait. Worth the wait. Okay? And so, interesting, this is the first time when I'm channeling a message that we had to really sit with the message beforehand a lot, right? And especially we're moving into a time of fire. We're moving into a season of air, right? There's a lot of energy, there is a lot of action, there is a lot of go, okay? And so it is going to be on us to call ourselves back, right? To remember to move at a slow and steady pace in our practices, in our desires, in our thoughts, especially in our thoughts. All right, let's get into it. Leo season. Let's reset this. At this time, I welcome forth the power and the presence of the elevated guides who can assist me in delivering this message for Leo season. I ask that you open up our eyes so that we see the truth of liberation. I ask that you open up our minds so that we may bloom. I ask that you open up our hearts so that we may embrace our divinity. I ask for assistance in delivering this message with clarity, empathy, and ease. Give thanks. Thank you. Service. Give me a second. I'm going to take my time. Oh, yes. Ungrateful daughter and earthly mother. Wow. Gifts from the past. I say oh my out a while ago. I don't even know if it was this year. I channeled a message and these exact cards came out. The way that we show up, this is bringing to light the way that we show up in relationship. Romantic, platonic, familial, our relationship to labor, our relationship to rest, our relationship to money, right? And so continuing again with this Cancer season message is what principles, what values, what are the guiding ideas that influence the way that we are in relationships. And so we talked about how a lot of what we feel is appropriate, what we feel that we should do, comes from external sources, right? And that's what the mother kind of represents here. And so I love seeing this in this position because we're now at a place of like, actually, what is it that I believe, right? This mother represents that sense of authority. It represents that external validation. It represents this external source of knowledge and power. Not power, because it's only power if you allow it to rule you. But everything outside of ourselves that is determining, that we are allowing to determine how we should be, what we should do, how we should move, who we should be with, how we should dress, what we should buy, who we should be in relationship with, how we should act in public, all of those things, right? And it's actually like, you know what, fuck that. What do I want? And so it's moving into service of your authentic self. That sun rising in the back, that's that Leo, right? The me, the I am. And it's actually going back to a time before we were socialized, before we learned what was appropriate for our lives, and taking that power back to say, actually, what is it that I want? Actually, who am I, right? And that's uncomfortable. That can be very uncomfortable if we are rushing to be in the place of I have it all figured out. I know exactly who I am. I know exactly what I want. I know exactly how I'm going to show up. That's a lot of pressure. Now is the time of discovery, which can be done by being in service to yourself, pouring into your interests, pouring into your care, creating scenarios and situations, boundaries, so that more of you is available to yourself this season. Ooh, so we become the ungrateful daughters. Because it's like, actually, I'm going to do this. Actually, I want this. Actually, this is who I am. And that's just going to have to be okay. Can we get more specific? Additional guidance from the tarot? You can support us in service to ourselves. Page of Wands. Let's do King of Pentacles, Eight of Swords, and the star. Okay. 5 of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Let me show you the cards, and then I'm gonna take my time, but I feel this. This is the journey that we're on. This is the Page of Wands. The Pentacles, 8 of Swords, Star. At the top of this, it says something in you wants to be free. Right here we see play. So I've already spoken to this a little bit. This is the energy that we are to embody during Leo season. It's finding our inspiration. It's leaning on our spark. It's being extra. Look at him in the desert on this journey. Did not sacrifice a look with it. Who do I become when I'm the boldest? Who do I become when I'm the loudest? Who do I become when I'm the sexiest? Who do I become when I'm the most sensual? Who do I become when I just listen? Who do I become when I'm wrong? Who do I become when I try something new? We get to find out. But again, we're so much in our comfort zone right now that to take this step, that to prepare ourselves for this journey feels kind of daunting, right? And it's new. So the page in the court is the student. They've spent their time studying, they're mastering through, learning and knowledge, right? But they know more than they believe. You have this experience, right? You have knowledge of these things. And so as you're beginning to figure out, how do I lean on my inspiration? Feel back into the time that you were last inspired and allow yourself to explore in a new way from knowledge that you already have. You have done this before. You have taken brave steps before. You have stepped out of your comfort zone before. Lean into it. And again, the message of slow and steady. Small steps. Okay, this is Leo. To be seen. So I'm thinking about appearance, right? You want to do, like, you've been desiring to kind of play with your style. It would be quite drastic if you cut off all your hair, dyed it, got rid of your wardrobe completely, and switched the whole attire up and then start wearing like very bright shades. That's a lot at once. Allow yourself to adjust, allow your system to adjust, because what can happen is when we go all in and we haven't adjusted our environment, adjusted our energy, adjusted our systems in order to accommodate change, we say, oh, it didn't work out. No, it wasn't the appropriate pace. So back to that, right? Start with the lipstick. Hell, start with some gloss. Sit in there for a little bit. See how you feel. See what you like. See what you don't like. Experiment with it. You don't have to do all of this at once. Okay? And then the next time when you feel comfortable or have decided, oh, I like this or I don't, add something else. There's no rush. The end goal is actually not the goal. It's being in the process. And that's what this is about. Thank you. It's about being in the process. And so we are being warned when the guidance here, this was in the position of like what we need to be careful of, what we need to stop. And the King of Pentacles, right? The King of Pentacles is so focused on, the outcome, the achievement, having it all. But there's a rigidness to it that keeps us from being present in the process of actually experiencing, actually allowing ourselves to be inspired. There's also a tendency to rely heavily on should. This might come in the form of leaning back into what other people say or how it should be done. This could be too heavily on like classes or, self-help and things like that. Part of this is about releasing yourself, setting yourself free, being curious, discovering. So while it is important for us to have inspiration and it is important for us to have guides, the goal is, especially when we are talking about inspiration, when we are talking about spirit, when we are talking about our own internal knowing, is increasing our own faith and trust within ourselves. If you were to write the book on this journey, what would it look like? You got to get out there and do it, right? So be aware of that. Give me a second. There is a lot of emphasis on the past. And for me, that means like it could be literal, right? It could be a situation that you're still handling, still processing a person. It could be like you living in the consequences or outcome of a past decision, right? This energy is encouraging us to move through that. And that is done through our healing. That is done through accepting the past for what it is. And it's as simple as, oops, that's not fair to say. I was about to say it's as simple as, it's not simple. It's not simple. It's not simple to do. But making space for our disappointment that we aren't further along than we thought we may be, or that we might be in a position that it's time to start over, right? It feels like, especially with that emphasis on cancer season and this emphasis on home, that a lot of us felt like, damn, I thought this was it. I thought I was done with this. We are always going to be the student in our lives. Okay? And so how can we make space to be the beginner once again? So this requires a level of gentleness. This requires some self-forgiveness. This requires a softness, this pace, the way that we are handling it is a part of it, even in the care of ourselves and our body. Give me a second. I'm supposed to read one of these. I want to make sure it's the right message. Gifts from the past. Your ancestors, past selves, and guides are bringing you gifts and treasures. Unearthly wisdoms are going to be handed down from the cosmic clouds. If you are having trouble resolving something, if you are in the process of creating a new project or a business, trying to decide where to move, this card can be very helpful. Be open to receive these gifts. And so it's bringing me back to, we've done this before, right? Our past selves. We've done this before. For those of you who do have an ancestral practice, you're going to do this work with them. If you do not, I always encourage you to work with your guides. There is also, thank you. Okay, so I am being corrected on one thing when it comes to this King of Pentacles. We do have to learn to trust ourselves, but there is an emphasis here on like elder knowledge. We need to be leaning more into, right, and a respect for that. So part of this is who is the appropriate source to provide support and guidance as we are on this journey. Thank you. And so this is less about, yes, we have to trust ourselves. Yes, we have to write the book. And we cannot do it alone. But make sure that the sources and the support that we are relying on are appropriate for our goals, right? Does who I am seeking support from and information and guidance align with my values of where I want to be? It's kind of like when Kerry Washington was like, I don't take advice from people I don't respect. But we have to also, yes, thank you, expand and open up our minds to make sure that we aren't getting distracted by the external, what's bright and shiny, traditional measures of success, right? And what it is you actually desire at a heart and core level. If this is a job, it's not, oh, I want to make this amount, da 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 da. Okay, what's the value? How do you want to live? What do you want your day to look like in this role? So what roles do you have to seek in order to live your day, your life in that manner? What fulfills you? And it might be money. Hell, who am I to judge? But we are looking less at the outcome and more of what we want to feel, what we want to experience, what our spirit is directing us to. I hope that's clear. Anything else? All right. Let's see what's going on with the signs. One from each. Go deeper into this. Each modality, sign in my blooms here. Cardinal signs, Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. What is we exploring? Thank you. For Leo season, we got the wishing well and visions. I'll show you the cards. The one who needs control at the bottom of the deck. Save it, I'm gonna save it, I'm gonna save it. Mutable signs, immutable signs. Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, Aquarius. I hope I said that right, y'all. Give me the cards. Oh, got one already. Everything you need too soon. Interesting. And home. Fixed signs. Fixed signs. Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio. What will we be exploring in the blooms here for Leo season? Stormfield, service, the one who hides the sun in the stormfield. Ooh. All right, y'all, that concludes the channel message for the Leo season. Take what resonates and leave the rest behind. If you would like to go deeper, again, I invite you to get your personalized messages in the Bloom tier, or you can book a one-on-one session with me and we can figure out how this energy is impacting you personally. Take care. I return this energy to you.